Right, let's get going again. Right, this is a little update video. We've not been able to start on the Piaggio for the moment. As you can see, it's been pushed to the back of the garage. The reason being is that obviously Jimmy started work again on the mini doors. There's one there, and there's the other one there. And we also had a problem with the Jimmy's moped, as you probably, I think I said in the last video, where the water pump, the brand new water pump that we fitted when we stripped the engine down, had actually packed up. So as you can see, that's where the seal went on there, like that. And underneath the seal you can see that shaft there for some reason. Look how pitted and scored that's got. And obviously water's been leaking past and the bearings are shot. So we had to order a new water pump, and lucky enough on these mopeds you can actually do that with the bike's engine still in situ. You have to leave that in place. That's the impeller, because to get the impeller out, obviously I think you have to split the casing. So, but you can actually drift the shaft out of the engine from behind the oil pump drive this way, pull everything this way, and then push that back into the engine, and you have to line that up through the other side to get this spindle back in. But yeah, that was it. The seal had gone, as you can see there. Again, cheap Chinese parts, unfortunately. So I did actually buy a new genuine seal from Gilera, but I had to buy it again, another kit form. So that's what we've been doing now. Now, whether you've probably realised, and I did say at the start of the year, I was going to start doing some clearing of the garden and start growing my own vegetables there. Well, I've actually got some soil there, as you can see, some topsoil, compost rather. And I bought some plastic buckets to actually start planting some potatoes in. But as you can probably see, this was the garden before we started clearing it. And last weekend we had a good attempt to clear it, and as you can see there, that pile of stuff down the end there, just what you can probably see just down there, that was 5 foot high. So we had a little fire, and it's gone down to sort of about 2 foot high now. So, but again, this has still got to all be levelled off, because I plan to put a polytunnel along there, and obviously I'm going to be flattening all that earth off there. That's still going to take some while. We've been stopped throughout this last week because of, obviously, I've been busy doing other stuff, and also the weather has not been too good. So that's that. But as I say, I've got these. Here's what I got from auction the other day. Let me show you. Again, I'm going to be adding a new segment to my channel with regards to doing all this sort of gardening stuff. Let's move that off of there. I think I paid actually £7 for this lot at auction the other day, and as you can probably see, they're actually eco starter kits. There's all different sorts of things there. You've got tomatoes, you've got cabbage, different types of tomatoes, salad leaves, starter kits there. What else have we got there? Cauliflower. And basically what you do, this little tray acts as a little propagator. You've got a bag of earth in there, and obviously the seeds. So that's how you start to actually grow the seeds. And as I say, I think I paid about £7 for that lot, so I got a good deal there. So as I say, the other two things we're working on at the moment as well are the mini project, as you know, and also the Escort RS Turbo. So let's go and have a quick look at that. You'll see again, the Escort here now is going to be worked on. What we've done now, as you can probably see there, Gary's actually put the repair panel in there, and that's been basically tacked in place, and a little bit of filler put over the top. It's actually put a little nick in that rubber there, so we're going to have to just build that rubber up again anyway. But that's not a problem. As you can see, he's done a pretty good job of that, so a little bit of filler there still to be rubbed down, but the actual repair there is now just got to be tidied up along the edges there, just dressed on the edges there, the filler. But as you can see, that is nice and solid again, and that's a good repair done. He's gone round the car and marked all the rings of filler, as you can probably see there, and just put some stopper filler. Now the thing with stopper filler is, as I mentioned to you in another video, is that you can actually fill over paint and bodywork as opposed to normal body filler, which you've really got to take it back to the actual metal. So bearing in mind these are just little small dents basically, so if you just like rub the area down and put a little bit of stopper filler over it, make sure there's no rust there obviously to the metal, and then just rub it back, and then you're ready. Keep the area as small as you can, then you're ready to prime again. So he's gone around the car doing that. So let's just have a look here at the moment, because we had some rust underneath here, as you can see. Let's get down there. Now we've cut, as you can see, got a big section of the rust out, and towards the back of the arches, or the back of the inner seal rather, as you can see, that's actually rusted through as well. So that should be like flat along there basically, so we will have to put a plate in, because you'll see that from behind basically, so that's going to have to be sort of tidied up and cut as well, and obviously filled in. But as you can see, we've kept the actual bodywork to a minimum. It's obviously been filled before this, as you can see, so someone's obviously put a patch in there, and if you actually look there, here for example, there where my fingernail is, there is a double skim, and that there, that little chamfer there on this wheel arch makes me think that this is one of those overlay panels that this has possibly had on there in the past. So there has been work done there in the past, and as I say, that's confirmed by the filler we can see there. So yeah, we're going to have to put a patch in there, so he's just preparing the area now, as I say, and then it's a matter of cleaning up these inner edges and putting some sort of patch over that as well. So that's what we're going to be on at the moment. Jimmy's down there with the Mini, as I say. He's again, he's still waiting to put the wheel arches on, but we've been very busy at the moment. Not much really gone on apart from what's going on in the garage with the Mini. He's got the hinges off the door off the Mini, because they were sort of seized on, so rather than buy a new set, we're actually going to renovate them, and we soaked them in a container of white spirit, and that freed them all off basically. So the studs on the hinges that were broken, we've cut flat, and we're going to drill out, and then we're going to re-bolt some new door fixing threads on them, so we haven't got to buy new hinges. So yeah, we're just going to have a look at this for the moment, as I say, and then we'll get back to you. Right, well, as you can see now, I've had a bit of a clean up and tidied this lip up a bit here now. This was very proud, this lip, so all I did was go along it with the cutting wheel along there and basically clean it all the way up along there and round that edge as well up there, as you can see at the back there, just to tidy it up there. We still might have to get the clean this face up a bit more, as I say, because we're going to be actually welding to this metal here, so that's what we'll have to do with a grinding disc or something. So, but as you can see there, that's the hole we're left with on the rear of the wheel arch. It's obviously had some sort of repair panel on there before, because this here is, for example, is double thickness. That's the original lip of the seal there, and there's a lot of double thickness on top there, so there's obviously been some sort of repair panel that's gone onto there before. So what we've got to address, as I say, is that back area there. And I'll just cut a bit of steel out, for example, which I'm hopefully going to just shape a bit to get into there. Let's have a look. As you can see, just to fill that hole in there somehow. Now what I'll probably end up doing here is just cutting the height off of this a bit more, tacking it up behind there like that, getting it so that it lines up with the bottom, and tack this in place there, for example, and once that's under sealed from the other backside, we should be okay. And that, as I say, gives us a continuation of this lip, which obviously there at the moment is missing. So I'm just going to trim this up a bit more, and then we'll hold this in place, and we'll end up tacking this in place. Oh, look who's turned up. Where is he? And where have you been?
Tattershaw.
Tattershaw. You coming back to do anything?
Door.
Door. Alright, we've seen the doors anyway. We're out here at the moment on the Escort, so...
Hey?
Right, here's our little piece of metal which I've cut to go over the back plate. Now again, depending on what gear you have, now I'm not a welder, and also we can't get the vehicle high enough in the air for me to do a repair work from behind. So what I'm basically going to do, there's a couple of ways I could have done this. I've cut this plate, as you can see, and it can go behind like that. And what I was looking for basically is to keep the continuation of that line there, the seal line, as you can see, which we've actually got there. So that can be tacked into place like that with spot welds on the inside all the way around there, and that leaves a nice back surface which can be obviously covered over with the appropriate underseal or whatever. Or what I could have done was actually use this as a template, draw a line all the way around where the cut is, and that would have given me a pattern for me to cut around, and then I could have introduced that into this actual gap itself, and literally just tack along that line and have the actual shape. That's another way to have done it. Or of course the last and final way which I could do it is to actually just put that panel on the inside, like something like that, and tack that into place like that. Trouble with that is that leaves all this jaggedy edge on the outside still visible. So the way I'm going to do it, just for the sake of ease and the finished job, is just to literally hold it there and tack it in place along the inside of this line there, and that gives us this lip which we can then bend the next panel on. And so all we've got to do is dress that from behind with some underseal to protect this, and it makes this solid as well. So I'm just going to hold this in place and then we'll tack it in place. Right, well, as you can see there, not the prettiest of welds, but at the end of the day, it's solid and it's in place. So what we're going to do is just give it a couple more tacks down in this area here. The welder's just tripped out for some reason, so I've got to investigate that. But as you can see, now we've got a continuous back edge there, and that means that once we've just put a couple more tacks in this corner here, this will all hold anyway. As you can see, that's solid as rock. Look, you can hear that solid as a rock there. And then we'll get a piece of metal and we'll cut the length and we'll shape it, and then we'll tack that in place, and then all that we'll need then is a bit of body filler over the top. So that's where we're going to leave it with this video anyway, so keep watching to get progress and how we get on with this. As I say, we're not welders, we're just showing you that you can do this stuff from home with a little bit of basic knowledge on how to operate these certain tools, and just following a little simple procedure like we're doing here. I'm not a welder, but I know how to bend metal, I know how to cut metal, I know how to operate the welding tool, and I know how to put some body filler on, and I know how to spray. Again, all as a do-it-yourselfer, so don't be frightened if you've got stuff like this on your car. As you say, this started off as a little rust hole. You can see the size of it compared to my hand, what we've actually cut out. Right, here we go. We've put the metal plate in and just put our little first coat of filler on. As you can see, don't worry too much about the smoothness of the filler. That's all going to be sanded back. But all in all, we've got a nice solid panel in there now, which is spot welded all the way around. So this is just literally the first coat of filler, just to bring things back up to level. The metal sitting just below the surface, so obviously it'll be just a thin skim to fill in there. I don't know if you can actually see there, for example. There's the metal there underneath, look. That's the new metal that's gone in, so we actually bent it like an L shape, and as I say, tacked it all the way along with our welder. And because there's a seam underneath there, I don't think you can see that from there, no, but you can't. We've actually filled up in between that seam underneath, and don't forget we've also got new metal on the back side of that weld, so it's just a matter of getting some initial filler on there. This doesn't take too long to go off, and then we'll start to just get the finishing coat. So we've got a couple of contours to adhere to there, but yeah, there you go. So that's one side nearly prepared, and Gary's just going to carry on now and do the same to the other side. Little update on Sharons tomatoes. We've been watering these every day, and we probably should have pruned these back. I don't know really how to do that, but we've actually got loads and loads of tomatoes on them, and they're apparently different types here. These are like little vine tomatoes, these ones. Look at them, look at them, look. Loads of them, not gone green, them ones yet. And back over here, for example, There's some more in there. More in there, as you can probably see. We've got some over here. There. They're just starting to possibly go a bit red there. All over the back there. But they're literally everywhere. Oh, the little green ones down there. Not massive tomatoes, but that's probably because we've not cut back all the... well, she's done a bit. I say we haven't. She has. You can see where she's actually cut some back, but we've let them just ramble in this area here. There we go, look. Loads of them, look. Some lovely ones there. Over the back there. And I think there's some beef tomatoes here as well. These are the ones with like ridges on, you can see them in there. So we're going to obviously be planting these next year in our polytunnel once we get it up. But I suppose these have gone up to about, look, grown up to about 5 foot high. She did cane them, put canes in them, but quite a few of them were just sort of, again, just spread out of there. So, and all she's been feeding them with is just a straightforward tomato feed, and they've been watered every day. I don't know how many times she's been feeding them, but that's just putting a capful of that or whatever into the watering can and then just feeding them. And again, these are all out of pretty small pots. They're not really big pots. These ones are, I don't know, probably about 8 inches in diameter, and those ones over there are probably 7 inches, I suppose, but they're not very big pots. But we've actually produced quite a lot of foliage, as you can see, and also a lot of tomatoes. But as I say, because they're only small pots, we have had to feed them on a regular basis. So, you know, you can't just water them, you need to have some sort of feed with them as well. So that's the tomatoes. There you go. Hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much, and goodbye.